I'm Stephanie. Welcome to Fiction Files. This is the playlist where I talk about all things writing, and today I'm talking about picking the point of view for your story. It seems like a simple thing, but it can make a big difference in your story and how close readers feel to it and the characters. Most often, novels are either written in first-person point of view or third-person point of view. Stories can be written in second person, like the popular You by Caroline Kepnes, but it's very hard to do right. So I'm focusing on first person and third person in this video. And just as a refresher, first person uses the I or we perspective. Third person uses the he, she, they, it perspective. Third person can read more like a summary of a show or a movie where we, the readers, get to see everything that's going on. First person point of view, we are limited to the point of view of the main character. We only know what they know. We only see the scenes that they are a part of. So, here are some things to consider when torn between those 2 points of view. First up is the intimacy, also known as narrative distance. How close do you want your readers to be with your main character? Should the readers be in the main character's head and experiencing everything the main character is? Or should the readers experience the scene outside of the main character's perspective as an observer? With third person, you get to convey things to the reader that the main character isn't privy to. This can build up tension, as we, the readers, know things the main character doesn't, and we are waiting for that axe to fall. But it can make the reader feel more detached from the characters. If you want to achieve something somewhat similar to sharing knowledge that the main character doesn't have, you can use fourth wall breaks, kind of like Ferris Bueller talking directly to the audience. This can be fun, but it can also be weird for the readers. It has to be incorporated and used frequently enough and wisely enough. Otherwise, it just feels like a cheap way for the author to convey certain information. For narrative distance, you have to decide if you want your readers to only experience the story through the main character's eyes, thoughts, and reactions, or if you want them to watch the main character instead. Voice. The next consideration is your voice. When writing in first-person point of view, the voice is that of your characters. The story is told using their words, using their feelings, and through their lens of how they experience the world, not yours. Essentially, can you become your protagonist and tell this story? With third person, you can put more of yourself and your writing voice and style into the story. You don't have to become your main character. You just get to tell the story and add your own flair around what's happening to the main character. Reliability. First-person point of view can offer up unreliable narrators, whereas third person is a bit more true to life. Again, first person is using the main character's thoughts and feelings, which are subjective. Third person gets to be a bit more objective. There is no reason for a third-person point of view to lie or skew the truth, but a first-person narrator might. I don't mind unreliable first-person point of view in many of my stories, but what really drives me up the wall is first-person point of view main characters that straight up hide information, but tell us they're hiding information from us readers. There's no reason to do that unless they know they are characters in a book. The worst example of this was a book I read a few years ago, and I'm not even going to name it because I don't recommend reading it. But the main character kept being all, "Tee-hee, I have a secret. I cannot tell anyone," but kept it a secret from herself just so we'd get the big reveal later that she's a Nephilim. It's one thing for the narrator to lie to themselves, but they shouldn't be lying to us and keeping specific information secret. People don't do that in their own heads. Show, don't tell. It's a golden rule of writing. Show, don't tell. But in first person, most characters won't sit there and describe the setting or think about how things smell or sound. They'll just be telling us what's happening. Whereas third person allows for the setting of the stage and conveying the subtext of what's going on. If writing in first person, make sure you're not just having the main character give us a play-by-play, but actually show us what's going on. Suspense. Writing a thriller or suspenseful mystery? writing it in first person can take some of the suspense out if we're supposed to be worried the character might be next, as we kind of expect them to survive as they're telling us the story. Again, third person is great at suspense, as we the readers see more of the world and what other characters are doing, or even thinking. We can worry for the main character, as they could be killed at the end. But first person can work really well here by keeping the scope limited. We only know what the main character knows, and what builds that suspense is wondering what we'll learn next. Tense and timing. Like writing in first person, writing in present tense makes the story feel more alive and engaging as it's happening right now. First person and present tense, it's hard to look away. But first person stories can also be told in past tense, and third person works both with past and present tense as well. If you want to follow what's easiest to write for your story, go with third person and past tense. Along the lines of tense, let's look at timing. In third person point of view stories, it's a lot easier to jump around in time. You can show a scene from the past and then jump back to the present, or you can even do a flash forward if you want. First person does allow for flashbacks, but it'll be limited to what the main character experienced firsthand. We can't have a flashback to something from the antagonist's past in a flashback in a book told from first person point of view. Some authors try to get around this by having the main character sit down for story time, and another character will launch into a monologue that explains the flashback or backstory. But that's just a fancy exposition dump. Complexity and scope. So they're not the best examples, but think of the complexity of Twilight compared to Harry Potter. Twilight, told in first person, has a very small world and scope, and it's not super complex. It's Bella getting a boyfriend and then immortality. Harry Potter, told in third person, has a much bigger world, and we as the readers need to be in the know of this world, the other characters, and the complexities of the plot. Now, I will also say that I feel Twilight is written in first person as it is Stephenie Meyer's self-insert fantasy, and makes sense that she would want to feel like she's in the story when reading it back. But that's also just my opinion. It all comes down to how limited you want your reader's experience to be. Are they limited to just what the main character experiences? Or are they unlimited and free to explore more of the world, regardless of what the main character is doing or knows? Multiple points of view. If you really want to do first person, but want to show the reader more of the setting and other characters, you could always go the multiple points of view route. That's popular with many thrillers. Each chapter is told from a different point of view, so we're in those characters' heads, but we get to experience more of the story as each character experiences different things and thinks about things differently. In a way, it lets you do the fun of third person, but doesn't add too much distance between the characters and the readers. Just make sure your characters have distinct voices and personalities so readers can immediately tell them apart. It's hard reading a book that has multiple points of view, but it all reads the same. Genre. What point of view is most prevalent in the genre you're writing? There's often a reason that point of view is the popular one. Study stories that are similar to what you're writing to see what point of view works best in that genre, and what you like about that point of view, and what you might do differently in your own story. Comfort level. Finally, what are you comfortable writing in? Do you want to write this like you are in it? Do you want to tell a fantastic tale? Your preferences matter, as if you're writing in a point of view that you simply hate, it will be apparent in the writing. You and your readers shouldn't suffer just because you think your story should be written in this point of view. So tell me, what point of view do you prefer to write in? Sound off in the comments below. Thanks for watching Fiction Files.